Yes, it is. He's been a professional, Carl Froch, now for 11 years. There are only 2 blemishes on the record. One, as you've been just talking to the trainer of Andre Ward, and the other, Mikkel Kessler. First for Froch tonight is the chance to remove one of those stains from his record, and the first of the tumultuous cheers around this O2 arena here this evening is for the MC Michael Buffer, who takes up residence in the centre of the ring, and that is a signal that very soon the 2 men will soon be making their way from behind us, through past our commentary position, up the 3 steps in front of us and to the ring itself.
And what they've been doing with Buffer, Mike, the crowd, the fans here, nearly 18,000, they've been watching him, they've been shouting him, he's been waving to them, he's made his way regally, and that's the correct word I'm going to use, to the ring. He's made his way regally, he's in there now, Ricky, and you've been in there when he's been announcing your son. What's it like looking at the god, the fan god?
It's fantastic, you know, from the lad from the Council Estate, when Michael Buffer, you know, introduces you into the ring, you know, it's something special, and that's what it will be for Carl Froch tonight. You know, listen, you know, at the end of the day, you know, we have a lot of world title fights in Britain, but not so many that capture this sort of imagination. And you know, if I wasn't a boxer, I'd be a boxing fan, and I've watched, you know, Carl Froch as a fan, coming up, you know, as a kid, you know, fighting the likes of Alan Page in Manchester, to fighting in fights like this. So it's going to be a fantastic night for Carl.
Now, coming to the ring, the 3-time world champion from Nottingham,
Michael Buffer has just paused for a moment.
London, are you ready? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Carl, the Cobra Froch!
So first into the ring, it will be Carl Froch, defending his IBF world title, a 3-time champion, boxing in the capital, where 11 years ago he made his professional debut. And if he's been thinking, as Ricky Hatton suggested, about his tactics for the fight, well, listen to this noise. He won't be able to hear himself doing so. Never before has Carl Froch encountered an atmosphere as loud and as tumultuous as this. Of all the great nights in his hometown of Nottingham, nothing can match what he's about to hear when he makes his way along the last of the corridors in the bowels of this magnificent arena, to appear behind us at the far end of the arena. And so he's there now, with the black shorts and the black t-shirt and the black gloves to match. He just goes through a bit of informal shadow boxing, and he's high above the arena floor here as one single spotlight shines upon him and others swirl all around the arena. What a night for British boxing, one of the most eagerly awaited fights this century, and Carl Froch is soaking up the atmosphere. He knows how important this fight is for him here tonight, and the cheers grow and grow as he now makes his way down a single flight of stairs. There's no chance for us to look behind us and see, because everybody in this 18,000 strong crowd on their feet, trying to get a glimpse now on the arena floor of Carl Froch. He limbers up, jumps up and down, shakes out the arms, and this is an occasion and an ovation like Carl Froch has never experienced before. And Ricky Hatton, this is going to be so important for him to hold it all together.
Well, this is the time when you can lose it, to be honest. It's probably the most nervous part. You know, you've got to shut the crowd out, shut the cameras out, and just focus on your opponent, like you've been doing for the past 12 weeks in your training camp, I guess.
Mike, This is not like just moving up to a level. This is like going up several levels. We've been ringside for his best nights. We've been ringside for his loudest and his craziest nights. And this has taken it to somewhere different. He's in Ricky Hatton land.
Carl Froch right in front of us here. 3 steps towards the ring. He stands on the ring apron, turns 360 degrees, steps in between the centre 2 of 4 ropes and takes the acclaim of the crowd. Still no lights in the ring, and now they come on to greet the champion, the British hero, Carl Froch, in his 10th successive world title fight, and one that will have a huge bearing on how he's remembered in years to come. And Ricky Hatton, you've been in this position before, and this is when you can really use the adrenaline of the atmosphere to feed into the fight itself.
Yeah, this is a time where, you know, you can either use the crowd to your advantage or it can work against you. It can either pump you up too much, or you can absolutely, you both can go. I don't think that's going to happen with Carl. What you just said there, 10 consecutive world title fights. Trust me, he'll know exactly what to do at this stage.
And all the time, Mikkel Kessler in his own dressing room will be listening to this arena reverberating around him to the sounds of the entry of Carl Froch. Kessler, though, is used to fighting away from home. He's faced partisan crowds in Sydney and in Cardiff, and now he's in London, boxing in the United Kingdom for only the 2nd time, and soon, after winning the toss of a coin, he will be making his way to the ring second.
And now making his entrance to the ring, the 5-time world champion from Denmark, the Viking warrior, Mikkel Kessler.
The task of drowning out the noise of 18,000 fanatical supporters here. They see their hero already in the ring in front of us. They break into song and they turn though down, casting their eyes to the far end of the arena and the same spot where Carl Froch appeared a few moments ago. This time there's no raised platform for Mikkel Kessler. He just wants to get straight on with it, and he limbers up at the back of the arena with a white t-shirt and predominantly royal blue trunks, and still waiting to take his first step on this fairly short walk through the arena. And once again, many an arm is raised with an iPad, a phone and a camera to catch their glimpse of a very, very special night of sport, a very special night of British boxing history. 2 3-time world champions sharing the same ring. Fraught is already in the ring. There is one single spotlight on the canvas, and now just to our left, we can almost reach out and touch his right glove, is Mikkel Kessler. He comes towards the steps. His trainers loosen the ropes, and he will step like Carl Froch between the centre 2 of them. He squats down and points 2 gloves towards the air and gets up on his toes. Circles towards the centre of the ring and back towards his own corner. It's the red corner, just a few feet away from us here. And now the 2 men in the ring, and the lights are on, and we're getting closer and closer to this special, special fight.
We are indeed, Mike. And there's one thing, as he came past us, as you say, we could touch him, you could sense him. He looked extremely pensive. Now, he's a guy that often comes to the ring smiling. I know we can't read too much into it, Ricky, but he definitely looked pensive. I'm not sure if coming out second with 18,000 people focusing their hate on you was a good idea.
Yeah, you never know what's going through a fighter's mind at that when you're faced with an atmosphere like this. It's still very daunting. You know, you just mentioned earlier, Steve, how many times he's boxed away and 5 times world champion. But you never know, you can only spend each time's different. You never know what's going to affect you.
And also, those were away fights, but they weren't rematches. They weren't this crucial.
Well, they don't need any introductions, but the best in the business is about to do so. Michael Buffer is waiting in the centre of the ring. To his right is Carl Froch. To his left is Mikkel Kessler. 3 times world champion, each of them, about to take to the centre of the ring for this most eagerly awaited rematch.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we will honor each champion with their respective national anthems. First, the national anthem for Denmark. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for God Save the Queen. Ladies and gentlemen, from the O2 Arena, London, England, Matchroom Sport and Team Sauerland are proud to present the main event of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing for the unified IBF WBA Super Middleweight Championship of the World. Sponsored by Betfair in association with Lonsdale. Sanctioned by the British Boxing Board of Control. President and Chairman Charles Giles. General Secretary Robert Smith. The International Boxing Federation President Darryl Peoples. Supervisor Lindsay Tucker. The World Boxing Association President Gilberto Mendoza. Supervisor Mariana Borisova from Bulgaria. At ringside, the three judges scoring will be from the United States, Adelaide Bird, from Venezuela, Carlos Sucre, from France, Jean-Francois Taupin, and inside the ring, in charge of the action at the bell, referee Pete Podgorski. And now, the officials are ready, the fighters are ready. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? For the standing room only, sold out, thousands in attendance here at the O2, and the millions watching around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, with his head trainer Jimmy Montoya wearing blue with white. Official weight, 11 stone, 12 pounds, 7 ounces. As a professional in 48 fights, he has 46 victories, including 35 knockouts with 2 defeats. From Copenhagen, Denmark, the 5-time world champion and reigning, defending WBA Super Middleweight Champion of the World, the Viking Warrior, Mikkel Kessler. And fighting out of the blue corner, with his head trainer, Rob McCracken, MBE, wearing black with silver, officially weighing in at 13 stone, 13 pounds, 9 ounces. As a professional, 32 fights, 30 victories, including 22 knockouts with only 2 defeats. He's a 3-time world champion, the fighting pride of Nottingham, Nottinghamshire, United Kingdom, the reigning, defending IBF Super Middleweight Champion of the World, Karl, the Cobra.
last of the formalities, we await the instructions from the referee, Pete Podgorski, a former professional fighter himself, born in Poland, now based in Chicago in the United States. And the two fighters at this stage playing a waiting game, hoping to be the last to arrive in the center.
All right, men. First and foremost, protect yourself at all times. Obey my commands at all times. Touch gloves, come out banging at the bell.
Well, Carl Froch said that he was prepared to spill blood, sweat, guts and tears in his cause here tonight. We know Mikkel Kessler brings the same attitude to the ring. Warrior's call, it says on the fight posters, and never were two men more appropriately labelled. And so the ring is clear. Pete Podgorski, the referee, checks with the judges. And after 3 years since the first fight in Denmark, the rematch is about to get underway.
Seconds out, first round.
And so one of the most eagerly awaited fights in Britain this century gets underway with an exchange of jabs from the two men in centre ring. Carl Froch started slowly by his own admission in Denmark 3 years ago. He has vowed not to make the same mistake this time, and both are exchanging shots in the centre of the ring, both of them leading off with their left hand. Kessler steps in, almost lunges in with a left hand, tries a left hook, taken on the right glove of Froch. Froch pings back with a jab. Now two jabs from Froch and a third, but they're all out of distance as Kessler sways from his more copybook style, the round arm style of Carl Froch, as he drops the left hand down below his waist, as he's done throughout his professional career. He's been knocked for his defensive qualities in the past, but it's got him through to a status where he is a three-time world champion. Kessler throws two shots to the body, but they both miss. The two men simultaneously throw left-hand jabs, and both of them land. A slight reddening on the right-hand side of the face of Kessler, but it's not a sign that anything of any real venom has landed so far in the first minute or so of the contest. Fraught is looking an awful lot livelier than he did in Herning in Denmark 3 years ago, meeting Kessler as the Dane jumps in. Frost meets him with a stiff jab onto the chin. A slight grimace from Kessler as he just thinks about how and where to make his next move to try to make Froch miss, and he does. Froch comes in with a left hook, and Kessler claims his man and holds on, and for the first time in the fight the referee steps in to break them away. Kessler misses with a jab. Froch gets through, but takes two then from Kessler, who suddenly finds the range with that lead-off shot from his orthodox stance, leading with the left hand. And Froch gets through with a jab of his own. A cheer from the crowd, but it's brief because it was just a one-shot success. Now he throws two more jabs, does Froch. No, none of the fighters has really landed a bomb with the follow-up right hand so far. Exchanges of jabs has been the dominant factor so far across the first couple of minutes. We're into the final minute of the first round. And again, in the centre of the ring, this time Carl Froch, after the jab, throws a right hand and then a left hook, but they were two shots that were out of distance and out of range. Hasn't quite found the rhythm yet. Good timing with the jab, as has Kessler. Difficult round to score, but Froch has been getting through with the jab. Throws a couple more. They were lighter jabs. As the right arm flies up, he gets set to throw the big right hand over the top, and he lands with the last of a five-punch combination, and he's agitated now, Froch. Another right hand gets through, and Kessler noticeably backs up and circles around towards his left. Good flurry of punches from Carl Froch, and again he tries a right hand, almost falls in off balance. Kessler comes back with a good shot of his own. Kessler lands to the chin with a left hook. Heavy shot from Kessler towards the end of the first round. What a lively start. The end of the first round. You might as well call it the end of the 13th round, because they picked up where they left off in Denmark 3 years ago. Ricky Hatton.
Excellent first round. Wasn't really much in it, to be honest. They were both weighing each other up, but you know, that last minute of the round, they both seemed to take off. I'm going to score that round for Carl Froch. I think his jab was working ever so slightly better, and he put on a little bit of a flurry in the last 30 seconds there, but really not much in it to be said, but I'm going to just favour Karl with that one.
Yeah, not a lot in it. He did take it with that last 20 or 30 seconds, but Mike, he missed with so many punches, 3 or 4. That's what cost him the fight in Herning. You and I were there. It was the wild lunges and it was the gaps in between that allowed Kessler to pick him off. Kessler didn't look happy in the last 20 seconds. Mike didn't look happy.
Seconds out, round 2.
So Froch winning the first round on our cards. Once again, a great roar greets him as he rises from his stool in those black and silver trunks and tries to dominate from the centre of the ring. He lands a good left hook at the start of this second round, and Kessler is backed up by that left hook, although the Dane has got such a strong fighting instinct, comes back immediately with a couple of jabs of his own. The Dane just circles with the left hand, trying to distract Froch. Right hand from Kessler, just missed the chin of Froch, landed on the Englishman's shoulder as Froch himself tried to open up. And the intent of both men is clear here over the course of the first 3.5 minutes or so of the contest. Kessler steps forward. There's more meaning in his looks now. There's a much more confident demeanour than there was in the first round. Makes Froch miss with a jab, just slips inside, but doesn't make the Briton pay. Kessler again weaving from the waist, trying to give Froch a moving target. Froch lands with a stiff jab. Kessler fails with his. Kessler lands though with a very strong right hand to the body. It's a punch that Froch said troubled him greatly throughout the 12 rounds of the first contest. Kessler leans in with a jab. Froch sees it coming and lands a jab and a right hand of his own. The right hand over the top of the low-held left-hand guard of Kessler. A leaky defence there on that side from Kessler, and the right hand just got through, although it didn't trouble the Dane. Into the second half of round number 2. What an atmosphere here, and what an occasion for Carl Froch to rise to. His eyes pinned on the man in front of him, looking for the openings. He turns the left shoulder around towards his man and flicks out the left jab. Now a left hook as Kessler throws a jab of his own. Left hook to the body from Carl Froch. Terrific shot, a left uppercut, and then a right hand. And Kessler, for the first time in the fight, is badly hurt. Right hand over the top from Carl Froch, and there were tremors in the legs of Mikkel Kessler. And he came underneath the follow-up shot and tried to hold on. Kessler is definitely troubled. He backs off. He tries a left hook. He fights back in the only way he knows. But still, he's on unsteady legs, and he falls back, this time off balance. But Froch corners him now. Kessler leaps off the ropes. But Carl Froch circles again now and moves in on his prey. Tries a jab. Kessler has enough of his senses to make Froch miss with the jab. 30 seconds to go in round 2. Can Froch detonate another one of those big right hands? He tries. It lands high on the head of Kessler. And again, Kessler is slightly shaken. Good round this for Carl Froch. He tries another one of those right hands. This time, Kessler has enough about him to make him miss. Froch goes bombing forward once again. Unleashes another cluster of punches. This time they're smothered by Kessler, who's concentrating only on defence at this stage as the bell sounds, and a severely reddened face of Mikkel Kessler as he goes back to the corner. Terrific round for Carl Froch. Ricky Hatton.
Absolutely sensational round for Carl Froch. Hurt him a couple of times. Kessler does not look happy. He's not coping very well with the power. Every time Carl seems to connect with him, he seems to be pulling a face and not happy with the outcome. You know, it's a wonderful start. You know, Steve just couldn't have had a better start.
He couldn't have had a better start, and the main shot that did the damage there was on the ear. That was a shot that certainly unsettled and certainly hurt Kessler. And what's amazing is he showed how hurt he was. He didn't try and back away. He had to grit and grin and just hold on for dear life. And then he was sent sprawling almost to the canvas, Mike, in his attempt to avoid Froch's lunges. And then I was pleased because Froch, with 30 seconds left, just took his time.
So a big round for Carl Froch.
Round 3.
Now in Herning 3 years ago, when Froch did take the advantage, he tended to stand off and let the initiative go. Now he has to reinforce his superiority here at the start of this third round, because Kessler has had the 60 seconds respite. Will it be enough? Can Carl Froch unleash another one of those big right hands, or maybe a left hook over the right hand glove of Kessler, who's come out in this round determined to show that he's recovered from that right hand to the chin. Another one from Froch. It was a shorter shot this time. It travelled only about 10 inches onto the side of the face of Kessler. Jab from Froch and a right hand, and a plume of sweat just flies up towards the ring arc lights here off the head of Kessler as another one of those solid shots of Carl Froch lands once again, but two jabs from Kessler get through. Another sign that Froch cannot afford to get complacent, cannot afford to let the initiative go as he did in that first fight. He said he had reasons for being lackluster then, no such reasons now. He has to stay on top. He has to fight like the three-time world champion that he is and stay in control from the centre of the ring. He's looking so confident. He moves in with a jab. He almost threw the right hand, but just thought twice about it. Lunges in with a right hand to the body and a left hook to the chin. Kessler sees them coming. Kessler wings his way in with a right hand, but takes a neat clipping left hook from Carl Froch, who judged that one beautifully. Let Kessler come flying forward and then pinned him with a left hook. Kessler tries to weave his way in again, starting to the body, following up to the head, but Froch sees it coming. He reads him, he guesses him, and flicks out the jab to stave off the potential danger. This is a much better performance defensively from Carl Froch as he motions to go to the body. Instead goes to the head with those glistening black gloves. Kessler wearing red gloves, and they haven't landed with any venom so far. Another right hand from Froch, this time just landed on the shoulder of Kessler. He tried a second time, and Kessler moved away to his own right. This time Kessler ducked underneath the right hand. The Dane is still very much in this fight. He's still got enough about him to know when the punches are coming, to read Froch's big attempts. But he still hasn't landed anything significant of his own, Kessler, across the first 3 rounds. 1 or 2 jabs, sporadic successes for the Dane, but another dominant round from Carl Froch as he tries to open up inside, to shorten the punches. A cluster of them, right and left hooks, but they were smothered by the shoulders and the forearms of Mikkel Kessler, who backs off again, tries to duck underneath the jab, instead takes it on the top of the head. Froch drops the left hand. Good left hook to the body beneath the right elbow of Kessler, and then a short right hand to the chin. Wonderful punches, and at the moment Kessler is struggling to stave off the attacks of Carl Froch. He's making him miss every now and again, but Froch is breaking through and penetrating the defence, and it's another round for Carl Froch. Steve Bunce.
Mike, there's something about the way Kessler's moving here. He's not happy. I think his nose is starting to bleed, but he's also, I think, bringing up some heavy, some darker blood. I think he's been caught. I think he's been hurt. Perhaps it was that initial shot, that real shot. He doesn't look comfortable, and Karl has got him under such easy pressure. Karl is well within himself. This guy at the moment, Kessler, is now looking like Karl said he would look. Karl said all the way through, I'll make him quit. I'll make him quit on his stool, Ricky. That's what Karl was saying.
He's growing in confidence here, Karl, to be honest with you. Is all that Kessler can do is just weather the storm and just get by. You know, he's not in the fight at the minute, you know. Made him miss at times there in that round, but ultimately all he can do is just weather the storm. Hopefully the storm blows itself out.
He didn't do anything once he made him missed.
Exactly, yeah.
That's the key. Kessler seems to be concentrating on avoiding trouble at the moment.
Round 4.
So such a confident start by Carl Froch, the winner of all 3 completed rounds so far on our card. Kessler starts with a stiff left jab into the abdomen of Carl Froch. Good punch from the Dane at the start of round 4. And now Froch gets through with another right hand immediately after Kessler had landed with a very similar shot. So Froch stands firm, but Kessler was shaken once again. And this time the head of Kessler is rocked back by a jab. Froch clearly feels that he has the edge tonight in power. It was very level 3 years ago, but there's a confidence, there's an aura about Carl Froch in here tonight that senses he feels he's got Kessler's number, but he cannot afford to get complacent, because Kessler every now and again is just stepping in and trying to unleash a 2 or 3 punch combination. Exchange of jabs, and once again Froch is much the better of the 2. He's much quicker, considering Kessler once described him as slow. Kessler, time and again, been beaten to the jab. by Froch, who holds it down low as he has done throughout his career, but he springs it up Cobra style, in keeping with his nickname, and it flicks out onto the chin of Kessler. Couple of successes again for the Dane with that jab to the chin this round. He jabs more towards the torso now, does Kessler, but Froch beats him to the punch once again. Froch tries an airy left hook and Kessler slips underneath, comes back to the centre of the ring. How much of that fighting Viking spirit can Kessler summon up here now to claw back at the moment a points deficit that is threatening to run away from him? It was Kessler who made such a good start in Denmark. The roles have been reversed here at the O2 Arena. We're into the fourth round, a minute and 15 seconds to go. And so Kessler opens up for the first time, but once again Froch takes those on the gloves. Froch was a bit wayward with his cluster of punches to the body and the head that followed up. He grits his teeth, bites on the gum shield. Again, simultaneously, they throw jabs in the centre of the ring. So much of the action has been right there in the centre. It's been an easy night for the referee because these are two men who just want to get on with it, who simply want to fight. Kessler, you hear the pound of a left hand there that was aimed at the body, but it landed on the right forearm of Carl Froch. Good defensive work again from Froch. 30 wins in his 32 fights. Is he on the verge here of avenging one of those two defeats? A crisp, hard jab from Froch gets through once again. He tries a right hand, but telegraphs it. Tells Kessler it's coming, and the Dane steps back out of danger. Froch goes forward, steps in ungainly style with a right uppercut. That misses. The left hook did get through. Kessler, though, he's trying to find his rhythm and trying to find his groove with a jab. Now he slaps in a left hook and then a right hand to the body, does Kessler. But they miss, and they miss by some way. He slips underneath the right hand of Carl Froch. Closing seconds of round number 4. Better round for Kessler, but was it enough for him to win that round? Ricky Hatton.
Yeah, I think Kessler won that round. I think he jabbed a lot better. He let his punches go. Let his punches go in bunches a little bit there. That was Kessler's first round.
And the first minute or so, you thought Karl was definitely taking a breather there, and Kessler hit him with plenty of jabs. He may have nicked the round, I think I agree with you, Ricky, but he still doesn't look happy. He doesn't look like he's at the races. There's a little bit of zap missing, there's a little bit of zip missing, a little bit of power missing.
Absolutely, he made him miss, though, quite well in that round. You know, Karl was loaded up with some big shots, he made him miss, and his jab, he just popped in with a couple of decent jabs and a few combinations. Just did enough to nick the round for me, mate.
Mike, do you think there's any danger here that Karl's going to look at this and think, I've got it in the tank, but I'll coast it a little bit?
Well, I just fear that he does what he did in Herning in Denmark 3 years ago. In particular, he had a terrific 5th round, and we said in commentary, this is where Carl Froch takes over. It's going into warrior territory, and then he let Kessler straight back into it. So round number 5. World Championship Boxing on 5 Live with Steve Bunsen, Ricky Hatton and me, Mike Costello. Pulsating fight so far, 4 rounds completed. On our cards, Froch leading by 3 rounds to 1. Now in the centre of the ring, once again, as they've done probably 100 times so far over the course of the first 9 minutes or so of this contest, they exchange jabs right there in the centre, using the jabs to try to push their opponent off balance and to leave them exposed for a follow-up. A good left hook from Kessler gets through. That might have been his best success of the fight so far, because you could see the sweat spray from the head of Carl Froch, who stood in front of his man and didn't move, didn't sway. Another right hand to the body from Kessler, then a jab from Kessler, and Froch is in danger of letting Kessler grow in confidence here as each minute passes. An exchange of jabs again in the centre of the ring, and another crisp left hook from Kessler. Cannons off the chin of Carl Froch, and that leaky defence is letting him down again at the start of this, the 5th round. Froch started so brightly, but is in danger of letting that advantage go. 2 strong left hooks so far in the first minute and 15 seconds of this, the 5th round of a scheduled 12. And Kessler is buoyed by that. There's much more of a spring in his step. The arms are agitated. He's bobbing from the waist, leaning down now, throws a jab to the abdomen of Carl Froch. The best of the scoring has been done by Kessler. And again, right hand over the top, then a left hook. Froch takes the punches so well, comes back himself. This is the best round of the fight so far. The contest has really suddenly exploded as both men land heavily and frequently as we head towards the final minutes of the 5th round. Stiff jabs, each head rocks back and they step in again. This time Froch with a Froch gets through. He bites on the gum shield once again, forces Kessler back to his own corner, the blue corner, far side of the ring. Kessler backs up. Kessler takes another uppercut. Short right from Froch, and a second right hand. Froch gets through at the end of the round. Terrific finish. Grandstand finish to the round by Carl Froch as Kessler just signals his intention with one last flurry at the end of the round. What a round, Ricky Hatton.
I'm stuck on that one. It was all, I think it was all Kessler's round, you know, up to about the last 45 seconds, something like that. He really found it. Carl really realised that he needed to do something in the round, and he certainly found it. I'm a little bit stuck there, which way to go.
He went forward, he did it off the front foot, he did it off the back foot, he made Froch miss. He made Froch miss. I think we can get over into the corner. I think Froch's corner.
Deep breath, okay? I'm feeling keep throwing that jab. If you keep coming. What's that? If you keep coming the jab. And fire with the straight right hand now, and then the right hand again.
Enough time to give his last warning about the bell.
Well, Carl Froch saying that he's finding him with the jab, and Robert McCracken is saying there, when you do find him with the jab, follow up with the stiff right hand, and that's the hand, the right hand punch that had Kessler in a fair amount of trouble in the second round. But a good round for Kessler in 5. And on my card, I've got Carl Froch leading now as we head into the 6th round by 3 rounds to 2. It's heading again to one of those nail-biting finishes as Froch in the centre of the ring flicks out a couple of jabs. He says he's found the range, and now he needs to follow up to take advantage of what he does when he opens Kessler up and leaves the Dane exposed for room for a left hook or a right hand over the top. Kessler is standing upright at this stage, and the right hand followed by a left hook from Carl Froch, parried partly by the gloves of Kessler. Stiff jab from each man, Kessler first, and then Froch replied, anything you can do, I can do just as well, is the spirit of both men. And Kessler leans in, throws a left hook below the belt, just gets a warning from the referee without the deduction of a point, and Froch just points down towards below the belt. As far as the rules are concerned, and the referee has just called a timeout, Froch can have anything up to 5 minutes to recover. In the event, the warrior that he is doesn't need any more than 5 seconds, but Kessler comes in with a crushing right hand and left hook, and how many more of those can Carl Froch afford to take? Brilliant combination of punches from Mikkel Kessler immediately after the restart, and now Kessler will have grown in confidence once again as Carl Froch leaves himself wide open and again stands in front of Kessler in the centre of the ring. How badly shaken was Froch? He's got that poker face. You'd never know that he's taken such strong shots and flush on the chin, and both sides of the chin, one a right hand and one a left hook, and Froch now has to ease his way back into the contest. Kessler tries a left hook to the head and then a left hook to the body, and Froch noticeably doesn't respond. He's really trying to regather his senses here. 2 good left hooks from Kessler again, and Froch drops the right hand carelessly, leaving an open pathway through to the danger area for Mikkel Kessler. Kessler takes a jab into the final minute of the 6th round, and it's the best round so far for Mikkel Kessler, who was trailing after the first 3 rounds, but being the fighter he is, the 3-time world champion, he's eased his way back into the contest, and he's landed some big shots in this round, and he's looking confident as he makes Froch miss, drives Froch back towards his own corner, tries another combination. Froch almost smirks at him as if to say he wasn't heard, but Kessler gets through with another one of those right hand left hook combinations, and they are getting through with worrying frequency from Kessler now. It's a 2-punch combination. It's a right hand and then a left hook as the 2 men clash heads there as they both motion to throw shots to the body. Last 10 seconds of the 6th round. Big round for Mikkel Kessler as they make their way back to the corner. We've reached the halfway stage. Ricky Hatton, heavy punishment shipped there by Carl Froch.
You know, full marks to Carl. He took a, horrendous right hand left hook there, absolutely, murderous punches. But I think, Kessler's grown in confidence now. He's come through a torrid first 3 rounds, taking some heavy shots from Carl Froch. And it's as if he feels he's took his best now and he's coming on stronger, you know, and I'm a little bit worried, Steve, of the frequency, how easy he's finding Karl to hit.
And he's looking for the shots, he's looking for a little body shot, he's looking for the big right over the top, he's taking a few seconds looking at his feet, kidding, then throwing the same shots. He seems to think he's got Froch's number. Just like we said at the end of the third round, Froch has got Kessler's number. We got it woefully wrong. Kessler's come back magnificently. That was the biggest and most painful round yet.
Seconds out, round 7.
And so we move into the second half of the contest. And since their first fight in Denmark 3 years ago, Kessler has never been beyond 6 rounds. Into round 7, and Froch comes out in sparkling fashion and lands a couple of jabs. Sure to have got a rocket from Robert McCracken in the corner. Tries a right hand, that didn't land, but a left hook did. Good success from Froch at the start of the 7th round. He needs to reimpose himself here to remind Mikkel Kessler of the fighter who was there for the first 9 minutes. Kessler goes forward with a jab, and Carl Froch, who's got a slight blemish now on the left cheekbone, just got set to throw a right hand, but he was smothered by Kessler, who went forward and grabbed his man in a clinch up close. Kessler holds the gloves up high, tight guard. It's been penetrated time and again by Carl Froch, but the heavier shots of the last 3 rounds for sure have been landed by the Dane on Carl Froch, and Carl Froch has needed every segment of that granite chin to survive the punishment that was dished out by Kessler, in particular in rounds 5, and the best round of the fight for the Dane was round 6. It's a quieter start to round number 7, but Kessler goes to the body again. It is a beautiful copybook pinpoint right hand that buries itself into the area beneath the left-hand side of the ribcage of Carl Froch. But again, Froch takes it and doesn't show any sign of dismay and just comes straight back. Kessler tries that combination that's worked so well earlier in the contest, a right hand and then a left hook. Froch throws a left hook, Kessler leaning back, slightly off balance. The crowd thought he was hurt, but he was just avoiding the big left hook from Froch. Froch shows a jab, a dipping right hand, but he's made to miss again with a right hand. Froch gets off with a jab, trying to now ease himself into a rhythm to get back on top, like he was in the early stages of the fight. Kessler reminds him that he too has got a sharp, fast and long-ranging jab. Kessler goes to the torso with the jab this time, tries to force Carl Froch off balance. There's been a lot of work with the left hand in this round so far. Neither of them have landed much with the follow-up, the big right hand or the left hooks. Concentrating almost solely on the left-hand jab. But Kessler does try a left hook, and it lands virtually on the elbow of Carl Froch. Froch now, left hook to the body, right hand over the top. Kessler sees it coming, ducks underneath. Again, smart work. Kessler takes a flurry from Froch on the gloves. Once again, the crowd cheer. Right hand over the top from Carl Froch, and this time it does get through. Earlier, the crowd cheered when it didn't get through, but they are getting through. Froch lands with another big right hand, but so too did Kessler. They open up once again. Kessler with a right hand to the body, Froch with a right hand to the head, and they swing away in the centre of the ring, unleashing the hardest shots they can throw. A clash of left hooks at the end of the round, and they bump shoulders at the end of the round, and a big smile from Kessler as he makes his way back to his corner, as if to say, how much harder can it get? And it was a smile, like at the end of their first contest, of deep, deep respect.
Just as we didn't think he could warm up anymore. It's warming up further, to be honest. I think Karl re-established himself in that round. He took the ball by the horns. He knew he had to find something, and I think he did.
He did, but he had to really take the shots to get there. He had to get closer. He had to not telegraph his shots as he managed to do. And did he hurt Kessler? I doubt it. Was he hurt himself? I doubt it. But did they both catch each other with fantastic punches? Yes, they did. What we're in now, we're in sacrifice territory. You've got to take risks here. You've got to sacrifice to get an edge. This is poised. This is dangerous.
Seconds out, round 8.
Well, Carl Froch has been the 12-round distance 8 times in his career. Mikkel Kessler 5 times, and it's looking likely that they're going to have to do it all over again, because they're landing heavily, but once again showing how strong they are in terms of punch resistance. Because apart from the tremors in the legs of Kessler early in the He stood his ground. Two good shots from Fraught get through at the start of this round. Right hand from Kessler lands almost as a left hook from Fraught gets through virtually at the same time. Every time one of these lands heavily, so the opponent responds almost immediately, like all great champions do, trying not to get demoralised, trying in turn to demoralise their opponent by taking the heavy shots. Nice right hand from Fraught. Then he follows up with a three-punch combination, and Kessler claps his gloves together, spreads his arms as if to say, come on, let's go. And my word, Fraught steps in and takes up the invitation, lands another one of those clubbing right hands onto the side of the head of Kessler, whose face is bloodied once again. It's reddened, and now Kessler forced to take evasive action as he swings away, ducks underneath the latest onslaught from Carl Froch, and Froch now appears to be getting back on top. Two successive right hands, drives Kessler onto the ropes, far side of the ring. Kessler just loses his footing ever so slightly there, and Froch again tries to detonate one of those right hands, and Kessler replies with a right hand left hook combination of his own, just as he looked like he might be there for the taking. So the Dane fires back. A minute and 15 seconds to go, and Froch senses here that he might be able to inflict some serious damage because he prowls after his man. Two jabs, a left hook and another left hook, but one lands almost simultaneously from Kessler. A gasp from the crowd, from nearly 18,000 people. They're almost taking the shots with Froch here, willing him forward, and he steps into the fray once again, tries a right hand. It just whistles past the left ear of Mikkel Kessler as we head into the final 40 seconds of another one of those treacherous rounds. And Froch goes to the body with a right hand. Kessler moves away to his left. Kessler now driven back to Froch's own corner. Right hand from Froch, and Kessler virtually stands still, almost inviting Froch forward, and Froch comes in again. Kessler with two strong left hooks. What a round, what a fight. Right hand from Carl Froch, and another combination from the Briton. He steps in again, and there's a worried look on the face of Kessler. It's replaced the smirk of earlier in the round, and the Dane backs up again, and he tries to smile at the end of the round, but he's on leaden feet as he makes his way back to the corner. Big round for Carl Froch. Maybe too early to say a turning point, but so important. Ricky Hatton.
I wouldn't quite say a turning point, but that's the first time he's hurt him since the opening rounds. And you know what's making the fight more exciting? As Carl's going for broke, he's leaving himself wide open, and Kessler's finding the answers as well. Outstanding stuff.
Kessler caught him with some counters there that were making me wince here, but equally, Carl caught Kessler with some counters there. What's happened the last two rounds, Mike? Robert McCracken has read the riot act to him at the end of the sixth round, and he's come out in the seventh, and he's gone for it in the eighth. That eighth round may go down in modern British boxing history as something special. I think we have seen the round of the fight so far tonight.
Seconds out, round 9.
Well, the question was, could it possibly be as exciting, as torrid as the first fight? In 8 rounds so far, we've had the most emphatic answer. Froch starts again in buoyant style at the start of this, the 9th round. We're moving into the final third of the contest, and Froch says this is his domain. This is when he generally comes on strong in his world title fights. 8 times he's been the full distance, and he was also taken into the 12th round by Jermaine Taylor. Good left hook by Mikkel Kessler, but Carl Froch managed to parry some of it with the glove. Kessler gets through again with a right hand lead. Just as we thought, he was looking a bit leaden-footed, so he shows that he's got plenty left at the start of this, the 9th round, and he steps after Froch. For sure, there's not the speed in the work of Kessler that was there earlier on, but he's taken so many stiff punches so far. How much has he got left? Plenty, as he throws a 3-punch combination. Left jab, right hand, and a left hook, and again the spray departs the face of Carl Froch, as he cannot afford to get complacent. This fight is a long way from being over, and he'll know that from the lessons learned in Herning in Denmark 3 years ago. Froch lands with a solid left hook, having made Kessler miss twice, and the Dane left himself open, and Carl Froch exploited that particular avenue. Kessler tries to press forward once again. The left arm of Kessler has dropped slightly. Fraught is much tighter defensively in this round. He isn't taking nearly as many chances as in the previous round, and therefore isn't having nearly as much success, because at this stage he knows he has to gamble. At some stage he has to leave himself open, but that's the warrior spirit that these two men have. It runs through their veins and it dictates every action in the ring. And another left hook from Kessler gets through as Fraught falls off balance, and so makes the punch look slightly worse than it was. Into the final minute of round number 9. Carl Froch tries a right hand, Kessler makes him miss and lands a solid shot of his own. Again, another very difficult round to judge here. Both men landing predominantly with the jab. Froch goes with a jab, then a left hook and a right hand over the top. The right hand missed, against the wishes of the crowd here, who really cheered, thinking that it had met with his target, but it hadn't. Right hand from Fraught gets through, then he ducks underneath the reply from Kessler. Again, Fraught falls in off balance there as he told Kessler what type of punch he was going to throw, and Kessler made him miss. Strong right hand from Kessler again. Into the closing seconds of this, the 9th round, and the pattern of the fight is well and truly set. It's a fight to the 12th and final round, it seems certain here, as Fraught and Kessler exchange jabs again in the centre of the ring. Fraught tries a big right hand. Kessler moves away towards his own corner. A winging right hand from Carl Froch at the end of the round is easily avoided by Mikkel Kessler. And let's head over to the far side of the ring, to the blue corner, and listen in to Robert McCracken.
You've got 3 to go. It's amateur bout now, okay? Put your head back, all right, okay?
3 rounds left.
3 rounds.
10, 11, 12.
Back behind the jab. You're listening.
In your hands.
Put your head back. Put your head back, all right? Don't. You know what you did that round? You was loading up, weren't you?
So there he's saying it's an amateur contest now. 3 rounds to go. Keep it safe.
And that's what he's got to do. He's got to put it into compartments, and Karl needs that. Him and Rob have a great relationship. I'm a little bit concerned the last couple of rounds, Mike, with the way they're talking to Kessler in his corner. I don't think they were very happy at the end of the 8th round, and they still don't seem so happy. I'm not saying they're going to pull him out, but they don't look that happy, Ricky.
No, to be honest with you, I thought Kessler come back and nick that round, to be honest with you, but they seem happier in Carl Froch's corner, let's put it that way.
Very quickly, guys, 9 rounds completed. How have you got it?
6-3, Mike, 6-3.
6-3 to Froch, me too. As we get set for round number 10. We'll get Ricky Hatton's scorecard at the completion of this round, because we dare not miss a moment of the action, and straight away they get back into the fray as Kessler tries a hook come uppercut heading towards the chin of Froch, but Froch was tight defensively, took it on the right glove. Good work, and he has to obey the command of Robert McCracken here, because if he can win 2 of these last 3 rounds, surely that would be enough for Carl Froch to complete a famous victory here. It doesn't have to be as hard as it's been over the first 9 rounds so far. He can make it more comfortable, but can he subdue that fighting instinct and let the boxing brain take over? We know he's got terrific classical skills, but too often he lets the heart rule the head. Kessler goes forward towards the torso with a jab, and it does land, but Froch stands rock solid firm in the centre of the ring, catches Kessler with one of those stiff jabs, and now Kessler goes towards the body again, and it strays slightly low, but Froch just carries on regardless. Left hook from Kessler, but Froch gets through with a follow-up right hand. So there's no encouragement from Kessler. Even when he does land a heavy shot, Carl Froch stands right in front of him, and even most of the time comes straight back at him with an even stronger punch. Stiff jab from Froch gets through as the 2 men exchange that lead-off, that classical punch, once again in the centre of the ring. And Froch has been matching Kessler for speed so far tonight. And that from a man, Kessler, who has described Froch many times in the past as being slow. Well, he's not been slow on the take-up so far this evening. Couple of jabs land, but he did telegraph the right hand, and he missed with that as Kessler gets through with a strong right hand to the body, then a left hook to the head. Good work by the Dane. And now, as Kessler comes forward towards the body, so he's clipped by a left hook from Froch, but Kessler lands a very strong-looking jab. Froch opens up with wide arms in the centre of the ring, leaving his chin exposed, and Kessler does have chances here if he can compose himself. Into the final 50 seconds of round number 10 of a scheduled 12. We've got Froch in front on our cards, but it could still go against him here as he steps in and he takes a huge lung full of breath. It's taken so much energy to get them this far. A right hand over the top again from Kessler, bounces off the side of the head of Carl Froch, followed by a left hook, the signature combination throughout the contest. And Froch has taken it again and taken it in his stride. He lowers his trunks and motions to throw a jab, throws the jab, goes to the body with a right hand. Another one of those fairly close rounds. Still that blemish which hasn't worsened beneath the left eye of Carl Froch. Good work by his cornerman to stem that rising bruise. Back into the centre of the ring again, and Froch lands a short, sharp right hand as they almost clash heads. Froch comes away from the clinch and uses the ropes almost to spring off them now, and he heads back towards his corner, and he's looking tired, but why wouldn't he after a contest such as this? And now let's listen in to Jimmy Montoya, the trainer of Mikkel Kessler.
11 coming up. 11 coming up. 11 coming up.
Okay, not much in the way of instructions there, just simply telling him that 11's coming up. Is that a signal that he doesn't feel there's much he can tell him?
I'm not so sure we can read too much into that. What we can read something into, there was a point in that round there where Froch countered. Kessler called him flush on, and you saw Kessler's face just about to smile, and somehow Froch from a toppling position countered. Froch will simply not be denied here, Mike. He found the second gear, and it's scary watching him tonight.
Ricky Hatton, briefly then, how have you got it going into the last 2 rounds?
I've definitely got Carl up by about 3 or 4 rounds.
But sometimes the scorecards can be misleading and they don't tell the story of how hard this has been here tonight for Carl Froch. Time and again he's been hit heavily by Mikkel Kessler, who starts in similar fashion at the start of this round. He knows that he has to win these last 2 rounds, Kessler, to have any chance of clawing back that points deficit and of repeating the victory of 3 years ago in Herning. Carl Froch in the centre of the ring, refusing to budge from that position of authority. He goes to the body with a right hand, that landed, but the follow-up left hook to the head didn't. Kessler moving with his backs, virtually scraping the ropes above us, and he's cornered by Froch with a couple of left hooks. Kessler moves away to the relative sanctuary of the centre of the ring and gets through the Dane with another one of those left hooks. Time and again, Carl Froch has dropped the right hand and Kessler has taken advantage. And again, Kessler now starts again to open up as they come back towards each other in the centre of the ring. Kessler looking to land the jab and then that big overhand right that he's had so much success with, but not enough success on our cards. Clipping right hand from Fraught, goes to the body with a left hook, the British fighter, but that just misses. Neat uppercut from Kessler. It's been a good round for the Dane so far as we come towards the second half, but just as we say that, so immediately Carl Froch hits him hard with a left-right combination. The second one of them really bounced against the head of Mikkel Kessler, who lands another one of those left hooks, but Froch takes it, and it must be so demoralizing for Kessler, who crashes in another right hand and another left hook, and still Froch refuses to budge. Still Froch holds his ground, and still Froch throws a counter. No matter how badly hurt he is, no matter how tired he is, he won't give in, he won't relinquish the authority here. Carl Froch back to the centre of the ring. He tries a right hand. Kessler still fit enough, still sprightly enough to weave underneath and to dance away towards the far side of the ring. Kessler goes to the body himself. It's been a better round for Mikkel Kessler here, although Carl Froch has got through himself with some solid shots. And now he drives Kessler back to the ropes, far side of the ring, and Kessler opens up, and this is the best flurry of the fight from Kessler. It started with a big right hand, and Froch was definitely shaken, and Froch is hurt like he hasn't been in either of the 2 fights so far, and there's blood by the side of Froch's left eye. Troubling moments now. Right hand from Kessler, a left hook into the closing 20 seconds of round number 11. Suddenly Kessler senses a sensational turnaround again, and Froch comes after him. Right hand, left hook, drives Kessler into the ropes. Kessler springs away, left hook from the Dane, drives Froch back with a jab, and Kessler takes a huge gulp of breath as if to say, what more have I got to do to put this man on the canvas? nervous. What a round for Mikkel Kessler.
Mike, did you watch that as you were finishing up? I was watching Froch's legs go back. They were wooden, they were stilted, he was struggling. There comes a point, Mike, when you cannot keep walking onto full-blooded right crosses, 12-stone right crosses from a world champion. And that just seems to be what happened there in that last 40 seconds. Kessler finally got to him, and you saw Froch's legs wobble. You saw him nearly collapse into the ropes. The punches have finally taken their toll.
Yeah, I think Carl's in the lead, you know, but he's going to take a huge effort from Carl. Huge effort from Carl to stop Kessler's onslaught in these last 3 minutes.
I've got it 7-4, Mike. It's all down to Kessler for a stoppage.
And I think Ricky Hatton has got it the same way, 7 rounds to 4, and me too.
Final round.
They touch the gloves in sporting fashion. 18,000 people in the O2 Arena are on their feet. How these two men are still on their feet, only they will know. They have taken such heavy punishment here, and Kessler had a frighteningly dominant 11th round. 3 minutes now for Carl Froch, 180 seconds to protect his legacy, to enhance his status as one of the all-time great British boxers. He's got to dig as deep as he's ever dug here into those resolves of strength and warrior spirit. As Kessler now tries to come forward, there can't be much left in the tank of the Viking warrior either, because he put so much into the 11th round. Kessler now tries a right hand and a left hook again towards the centre of the ring. They exchange jabs. Kessler is looking for the opening. He knows he needs to land often and heavily to claw it back his way. Or is there a big sensational finish in those weary arms of his? As Fraught circles back to the centre of the ring, Kessler goes to the body. The crowd trying to get behind Carl Froch now as the ovation rings around this O2 Arena, and Froch tries to respond. There's still blood by the left eye. That's the least of his concerns. That will heal. He's trying to protect his reputation here and his world championship belt. He leans in, Froch, off balance, out of range, and Kessler opens up with a 4-shot salvo, and Froch takes them and fires back himself into the final half of the final round, and Froch steps forward with a jab, then a right hand, then takes a deep breath. Strong jab from Kessler, rocks back the head of Carl Froch, and these are going to be worrying moments for Froch and those in his corner, but he stands there and trades and punches away in the only way he knows how. Closing minute of the contest, and Carl Froch is trying to close out a famous victory, and he pummels Kessler with a right hand and a left hook. He wings in with another left hook to Froch, and he's made to miss. Such is the effort. He turns fully 360 degrees, comes straight back into the fray. Kessler is on the back foot, takes another right hand again on the side of the head. 30 seconds to go, and Froch is finishing in champion style, and he's so eager now to finish this inside the distance. Kessler is holding on inside. He's on the ropes. He's trying to cover up as Froch opens up, and the referee is looking at Kessler. Is he going to step in? What a finish by Carl Froch. The bell is upon us. There's no way we'll hear it because of the tumult in this O2 Arena. And there it goes. And both men raise their arms, embrace in centre ring. Everybody in this arena standing, applauding one of the great fights in a British ring. And Carl Froch has come through some terrible moments, surely, to hold on to his world title. And that is a fight that few of us here in the O2 Arena here tonight will ever forget.
Absolutely sensational fight, to be honest with you. He, finished like a champion. On the verge of stop. I think the referee looked like he was going to jump in at one stage there.
With 12 seconds left, Ricky, he was about to step in. Mike was about to say he's about to step in. He was, and then Kessler pulled something out like he's been doing all the way through that fight. That was a sensational last 2 rounds there from Carl Froch. When he was hurt, he had to come back. When he was up against it, he had to come back. We talk about going into reserves, we talk about digging deep. He ploughed some other area this evening in that ring.
Well, if we never have to watch another fight again, well, we'll go away so satisfied. That was boxing at its brutal, beautiful best. Carl Froch was on top early on, lost the initiative towards the middle rounds, and then suddenly came back with a gusto just as he was looking in trouble at the end of the 10th round. What a finish to the fight, and just listen to this acclaim for one of Britain's great fighting heroes. Exactly what he promises, and that's what Carl Froch promises every time he answers the first bell. What a contest. It swung his way and then back to Kessler, then to Froch and back to Kessler. The criteria for a great fight. We've seen something very special here tonight.
Yeah, both of them had to dig deep at times in there. One, you know, you never thought Kessler was going to come back after the 3 rounds. You thought it could have been an early night, and then he come back, and then Karl had to do very similar. You know, he had to come back just as Kessler was having a good spell in the fight. So to be honest with you, the winner of the fight got it because I think he wanted that a little bit more. When the chips were down, his back was up against the wall, he bit on that gum shield and he come back like the champion he is.
He was relentless, and was that the 18,000 people? I'm going to answer for you, Ricky. Yes, it was the 18,000 people, because it was after 6 rounds, it was 3-3, and Carl found something in the 7th. I don't know where he got it from, and neither did Kessler. And then Kessler found something with the 2,000 Danes here for about the 9th and the 10th round. We've seen something very special.
And who's to say we won't see Fraught against Kessler number 3 here, because we are waiting for the formal announcement. And there looks to be much more glee in the corner of Carl Froch than there is in the corner of Mikkel Kessler. The reverse of the situation and the scene in Herning in Denmark 3 years ago. The two men in centre ring are smiling at each other and as if pointing at each other as if to say, I told you so, I told you I was better than last time. Well, not many would have believed it, but the fight too was better than last time. So many swings, so many times when Carl Froch looked in trouble, so many times when Kessler looked as if he was on the way out. But when we consider those moments, we have to consider the fighting spirit of these two men and the sheer refusal to give in. And once again, another round of applause rings around this arena as the two men stand either side of the referee, Pete Podgorski.
Ladies and gentlemen,
and here's the formal announcement.
The scorecards, a round of applause for champion versus champion. This was boxing, and this is the score. Adelaide Bird, 118 to 110. Carlos Sucre, 116 to 112. Jean-Francois Toupin, 115 to 113. All three judges scored to the winner by unanimous decision. The fighting pride of the United Kingdom, and now the unified super middleweight champion of the world, Carl, the Cobra
revenge is a dish best served cold. Well, Colin, they may say that, but they lie, my friend, because what we saw here, and it was obvious, not in the opening round, not in the second round, but in the 4th round, when suddenly Kessler turned it round, when suddenly Kessler looked like he was fighting in his back garden in Copenhagen, when suddenly it sounded and felt like 18,000 days were here, and it looked at that point like Fraught didn't have the answer. And for 3 rounds, we were facing a terrible ending.
And then came round 8, Ricky Hatton, and from a boxing fan's point of view, round 8 actually brought a tear to the eye. It was that good.
You know what, he was second to none all the way through. Just when the fight was going one way and then the other, you know, at first you thought Kessler was on top, and then at first, beg your pardon, you thought Karl was on top and Kessler had to find something. He evened it up at 3 rounds apiece, and Karl had to find something, and that's exactly what he did. Every time he needed to be asked something, he come back with the answers.
These two guys are best of friends, and they'll renew that friendship now, Steve, and they will sit when they're 60 years old, and they will talk about that fight in Denmark 3 years ago, and they will talk about the fight here tonight, and immediately in the aftermath, Steve, we can be prone to overstatement, but where does that rank in fights that you've watched in Britain?
It's a top 5 fight in Britain. The man sitting next to me was at the greatest fight I've ever been at in this country when he beat Costello, but that's a top 3 or 4. And what's more, Colin, there's 18,000 people in here. I guarantee on Monday 22,000 people saw it. By next Friday it'll be 35,000 people were ringside. And if that happens, Carl Froch, who likes a pound note, will ask for a steward's inquiry.
Let's talk about punch resistance, because obviously we are the British Broadcasting Corporation, and the thing is, when Froch catches Kessler, we automatically lean forward. When Kessler catches Froch, we automatically rear back in the seat. But both men took shot after shot after shot, and not one knee touched the canvas.
Not one knee touched the canvas. Only Froch's legs buckled slightly, and that was because he was caught finally with just too many right hands. But then he dug deep, and we thought he'd already gone deep enough, and came back with stuff to have Kessler out in the last 12 seconds. The referee, Ricky and I,
I swear the referee was taking a run up to jump in.
He was going in with 12 seconds left. He was on his way in.
Absolutely.
I think the referee decided the shots were too heavy. Just didn't dare get in the range of those.
We look at him now, he stands proud, a battery of media around him, not just from the UK, but also from the USA. The cameras pointing at them are not just Sky Sports, Steve Bunce, they're HBO's, and Primetime America saw a classic tonight.
A classic tonight, and one that the Americans will love, because to be brutally honest, getting Andre Ward back in the ring with Carl Froch was going to be a hard sell, unless there was a fight like that, unless there was something to whet the appetite. Thank you, Ricky, they've sold it.
And let's be clear about this. It's been talked about as the reward for Carl Froch. Virgil Hunter, his trainer, is over there. Andre Ward is here. They know what Froch brings to the negotiating table. Look and listen to this atmosphere around here tonight. Carl Froch is the equal partner in any fight against Andre Ward. I know Ward won the first one, but he doesn't bring anything like this level of excitement.
Mike, I'm just wondering, okay, with the atmosphere we've seen tonight, with what we've seen and with what the Americans have seen, I just wonder if HBO dig in their pocket and try and get Ward out of his stronghold, out of his enclave, and get him here to try and even up the score, almost like a handicap. I tell you what, I wouldn't rule that out.
Well, Steve, at the moment everybody wants to catch a word with Carl Froch. He's addressing the crowd here at the O2 Arena. There was not an empty seat. Right from the beginning, a coin toss meant that Carl Froch, the Cobra, snaked out to the ring first. After that, it was Mikkel Kessler that came out second. He had that weight in the ring, and he came out of the traps unbelievable. Took the first 3 rounds, then Kessler came back, took the next 3, and it was heaven from then on in. 2 true warriors. So often in boxing, if we're being honest, the hype does not match up to the fight. Tonight, it surpassed it, and you could hear a pin drop now, Ricky Hatton, as he talks to his fans. A wonderful moment.
Yes, he's put really Nottingham boxing on the map, to be honest. Nottingham should be really proud of him.
With all the adrenaline that's flowing now, Ricky, he won't be feeling any of that punishment. What does he feel like tomorrow morning when he tries to rise from his bed? Give us an insight.
You don't feel the pain. When you've been in such a war like that, and you've got the belts over your shoulders. You feel 10 feet tall. But when you wake up in the morning, it's the worst hangover you can ever possibly imagine. But to be honest with you, it'll be well and truly worth it. Unification match now. That's I think that big Carl's defining fight, and he's not finished yet.
No, he's not finished. Mike, I always think about when Oliver McCall lost to Frank Bruno, and I saw Frank Bruno the next day. On the night Frank Bruno was jumping and dancing. The next day we did a photo shoot at a hotel down in Brentwood, and 2 of the photographers had to lift his legs onto a seat they wanted him to lie on. He could not lift up his legs. Carl Froch will be that way tomorrow, as will Mikkel Kessler.
Gentlemen, both men at the moment talking and smiling, and we talked about how long it takes to recover from a fight like the first one. How long will it take to recover from this fight? How long does it take to recover from World War II?
Well, fights like that, you know, will take a long time. Ricky, if that was you, let's put it that way. If that was one of yours, like the Castillo fight, I know it was an easier fight, but you still had to all that adrenaline. How long?
You'd have to, you know, if he is going to squeeze one, you know, before the end of the year, you'd have to say December time. You know, you've got to give yourself a good 5 months, 6 months, you know, to recuperate from that. And, you know, to be honest, good luck to him. He wants to put his feet up, he wants to savor the moment, enjoy, you know, let the people, let the TV, let the promoters, let them all do the talking and see what comes up next for them.
Well, I have to say, I'm looking here, Mike, and I remember your commentary from the very first round. Kessler's face is reddened on the left-hand side. I remember your commentary from the second round. Carl Froch's nose is red at that stage, and I'm looking at their faces. I'm about 3-4 feet away. Those marks are still there, and many, many more to boot.
And you know, we're watching the images, as are all these spectators here on these screens high above us here, and they're talking animatedly like two young amateurs who've just had their first ever fight.
They're smiling, they're cuddling each other, they're making jokes, they're laughing. I've got to be honest with you, looking at the end, the two of them at the end of the 12th round, I didn't think we'd see this. I thought we'd see them interviewed separately. I thought they might rush Kessler away and make sure he was okay. Mike is phenomenal.
Yeah, the two men still sat on the ring apron, and Carl Froch clearly the more satisfied of the two, but there is smiles all round from Mikkel Kessler, because clearly he feels he has given it absolutely everything.
Well, you know,
here.
when I can look back at, you know, I can only, you know, relate to my career. You know, when I got beat by Floyd Mayweather, yeah, I was heartbroken, but I knew I got beat by a great champion, and that's exactly what Mikkel Kessler's got beat by tonight. An absolute great champion in Carl Froch, and one that's getting better.
Mike, I know it's early, and I don't want to be the person that people moan and complain about, but at some point, we're trying to get Carl Froch here. There's a massive rush.
There's a massive, and I tell you what, Steve, I'm about a foot away from it. I might be his next victim, I have to say, as he goes past.
Well, Carl.
Well, Carl's just passed me. I have to say, Mike, there's a pecking order. I nearly jumped up and I was that excited, but I thought it better not to just do that. But he's walked past, he's shaking hands, of course, because many members of the media here, not just Five Live, but the whole way down the line, they've been along the way with him for 33 fights, and he has had to scrap for every inch of his success, Mike. He's had to scrap also for every inch of his profile, and it's never been higher.
Colin, we've seen how he reacts to the sport of boxing inside the ring, and here we've seen how he reacts to the business of boxing. He knows that his paymasters are the television companies, and he has to suit them first. So having done the domestic television interview, he now moves across to talk to American TV.
What do you mean? We're not paying him?
He did promise that he'll talk to us on the way back. So very shortly we will get the thoughts of Carl Froch. After that, I mean, I'm exhausted.
Well, you know, can I just
measure how Carl Froch and Mikkel Kessler must be feeling tonight?
If radio's all about painting the picture, let me just paint the picture very quickly of Mike Costello. The left-hand side of his face is reddened. The right-hand side of his face is a little puffy. His eyes are out on stock. His lips are dry. He went through about a litre of water during that, and you live for nights like that. Absolutely sensational. And here's an idea. We talked to Virgil Hunter earlier. Lovely guy, but he had the gum going, you know, like Ricky's got the gum going now. Well, I don't want to talk yet, guys, about where the fight's going to be. Let's see how they do tonight. Well, I tell you what, if he's not interested, we'll have a third helping of that.
Let me explain. We could very well have a third helping of that, but it may not come down to whether Virgil Hunter wants it. It may not come down to whether Andre Ward wants it. It may come down to what those men over there, HBO, want, because what's happened in America, they've been decimated by the defection of Floyd Money Mayweather, the world's top attraction. They've lost the world's top attraction, and they've just put out a fight tonight on HBO. They will want Carl Froch. I wouldn't be at all surprised if on Monday morning Carl Froch isn't in our Salford office doing interviews like he was after the Butte fight. Wouldn't surprise me if he's first class over there to America to be with those Yanks doing interviews with HBO and taking the dollar.
We got to say, you know, 6:20 East Coast, you're looking at about 3:20 in the afternoon West Coast. So it was going out prime time in New York, it was going out prime time in New Jersey, it was going out prime time the whole way down the East Coast of the United States of America. And watching that, surely, Ricky, you've experienced both sides of the Atlantic. What HBO will want is they will want Froch in a ring with Andre Ward.
They would absolutely love that in America, to be honest with you. You know, and even, you know, they'd absolutely show that again in America, to be honest with you. You know, I dealt with HBO and a box on HBO, and they told me, you know, they're not bothered as long as you're in a good fight that gives value for money. They will show you every day of the week. So Carl Froch is going to go top to their wanted list.
And just a quick word overall, Mike, on the super middleweights and some of the fights we've had involving these two, involving Ward and involving others over the last 3, 4, 5 years. And I know Steve will come in after because he's a big fan of what's been happening in this division. Yeah,
well, if you look back through the history of the division, you know, the saluted Ben and Eubank and Collins and Michael Watson, and then Joe Kawasaki and his unblemished record of 46 unbeaten. You have to look at the size of super middleweights. They're weighing 12 stone. It's just about the perfect size to get the blend of speed and power that brings the ultimate amount of excitement. They're not slow and ponderous like the heavyweights, and they're not lightning fast, so fast that the punches don't really land with any solid power. They seem to be the perfect mix at 12 stone, and that's why I think the division throughout the ages has given us so much promise.
It's been relentless, some of the fights that we've had. It has just been almost an endless stream of fighters. Colin, you got yourself a tall man who's dressed even smarter than you.
Eddie Hearn's with me, stolen my thunder. I have a waistcoat, I didn't do it up. It was done up at the start of the fight, it wasn't at the end. A fight for the ages, that one, Eddie.
Unbelievable, you know, you always hope, you know, with the hype that a fight like that dictates that it's going to deliver, and that delivered in spades. You know, I'm so proud of Carl Froch and Mikkel Kessler, what a warrior, you know. I mean, the 11th round there, I think the 8th round where Carl nearly had him out of there, and then the 11th was two of the best rounds I've ever seen.
What was your thoughts going into the fight? Because obviously you'll get a little bit further than us into the dressing rooms. You'll be talking to Carl. Did you have supreme confidence that his mind was right going into the ring?
Well, I was confident, you know. He wanted this more than anything. I've seen his drive and desire, and he's lived and breathed Mikkel Kessler over the last 12 weeks. But, you know, when you're up against someone like Mikkel Kessler, who's, you know, at times it looked like he was ready to go, and then he just came back with a massive round. And I had it, you know, at 118, 110, I didn't really agree with. I had it probably 3 or 4 rounds. But, I mean, you know, at the 11th round, Carl was definitely hurt. And, you know, to come back in the 12th and put in a round like that at the end was unbelievable.
We've speculated where we think he might go next and what will happen next and where it might happen. You know more than us, so tell us, because you must have a plan in place for the eventuality of this revenge against Kessler.
Yeah, you know, this is one of those fights that you try not to look beyond, because you know what it's going to take out of his body. He's had a long camp and a real tough fight. Andre Ward's over there. You know, there's no disrespect to Andre Ward, but Carl Froch has got 2 belts now. I don't even know if Andre Ward's got 1. And Andre Ward is a tremendous fighter, but he can't deliver a fight like we just saw in there. You know, I mean, some people will call for Froch Kessler 3. George Groves is coming on in a couple of fights' time. And, of course, Ward is a fight that is of huge proportions here. But you know what, right now, I think it's about Carl Froch just relaxing, and we'll see and we'll just enjoy it. And finally, he'll get, you know, the adulation and the respect that he really deserves.
Eddie, you sound as hoarse as somebody who's just done a 12-round commentary.
I know. I just, you know, there was times where I was smashing the canvas. I think the 8th round was it. It looked like Kessler was ready to go, and then he came back the round after, and he looked so strong. And then, you know, the 11th round, I felt hurt Carl, and I haven't seen
the 11th round. That salvo was right above you on the other side of the ring. How hurt did Carl seem?
You never know with Carl, because he's got that sort of style where at times he looks tired and he looks hurt, but he was, I mean, I think I've never seen him like that in the 11th round before. He was definitely hurt in that round, but to come back in the 12th, that's what it meant to Carl Froch. You saw that in the last minute and a half of that round, what this fight meant to Carl Froch.
Nearly stopped him in the 12th, actually. I swear, I thought the referee was going to jump in. What an ending that would have been.
Seconds.
I know, and you know, like I said, I had it a little bit tighter than 118, 110, and when it's sort of 2, 3, 4 rounds, you just hope that you get the decision, and you hope that you get justice that you deserve. And when they announced it, it's over. I'm so chuffed for him, you know. I mean, you know, to come out, this is a guy who fought Jean Pascal years ago in front of 5,000 or 6,000 people, and Boutte, a brilliant performance in front of 8,500. To come out here, 19,000 on Sky Box Office, he's now getting what he deserves because he's entertaining. You know, there's not many fighters in the world that can put on fights like that.
Well, we're going to talk at some stage, hopefully, to Karl. He's going to make his way over. We've got Rob McCracken coming over as well. We'll see what harsh words he had for maybe around in and around the end of round 6, going into round 7 in particular, Bonsi.
Ed, listen, I know we did great business selling the place out, genuine seller, absolutely. You could feel it was fever pitch. No, it's a royal we. It's a royal we. Especially because of the sun today. Do you wish you'd have gone outside?
No, not really.
Was it an option? Was it something you thought about?
Do you know what? I mean, it's difficult to get an atmosphere like this. Ricky's boxed at the MEN, you know, time and time again. I know he boxed at Manchester City as well. And, you know, to be honest with you, it's easy to look back and say we could have gone outside, but you know, we're still growing, Carl Froch. You know, maybe there's another fight beyond this where we go out to a stadium, but to be honest with you, Buncey, when I saw the weather yesterday, I was thinking we were the luckiest man in the world not to go outside. But you know, the atmosphere in here was brilliant tonight, and it's a great night for British boxing.
I'd not phone him tomorrow morning. I think you might need the rest. Eddie, thank you very much for joining us on BBC Radio 5 Live. For anyone tuning in, Carl Froch has won on points, a unanimous points decision in his rematch with Mikkel Kessler in Denmark in 2010. They said it was a fight that could not be bettered. Tonight we hope for something close. We got something that was even far beyond our wildest expectations. Put by Steve Bunsen as top 5 British fights. A fair thing to say. You haven't placed it. 2, 3, 4, 5. Described as no matter what happens, I'm just so happy I was here to witness this, and everyone will remember it from Mike Costello and Ricky Hatton, so expertly describing it here on BBC Radio 5 Live at the O2 Arena. In terms of the judges' scorecards, by the way, one had it 118, somebody else had it 115 to 113. What was the score in the doors for you?
Well, I'll tell you what, we had the same thing when we were out there with Karl in Herning. One judge out there had it by 1 point, and one judge had it 9 rounds to 3. So trust me, it does happen, and it can happen. I agree with Eddie. I had it 3 rounds at the end, but you couldn't have argued with 4 rounds. Anything above 4 rounds, and I think it would have been a bit excessive, in my opinion. Anything above 4 rounds.
Yeah, I had it 116, 112, which is how one of the judges had it. Another judge had it 115, 113, so Froch by 2 rounds. But Froch by 8 rounds, I find that troublesome. I can see no way in which Kessler won only 2 rounds.
No, absolutely, yeah. No, I think maybe 3 rounds, yeah.
But we often see that there's always one score that goes quite heftily. Looks like you've got your man, Big Carl.
I have done. Carl makes his way. Carl Froch makes his way past Virgil Hunter to the 5 Live commentary position. First of all, Carl, congratulations. What a fight that was. We'll remember it forever.
Yeah, it was good. I think it warmed up in the second half. I think the first half I was having it all my own way behind a long jab, and I was quite happy to keep him at the end of the jab and not really take too many chances. And after round 5 or 6, I'll have to watch it back again. I think I started to think to myself, right, I need to start stepping in with the right hand now and letting a few shots go and get busy. I got caught with a couple of body shots, that was okay. I got caught with a couple of silly right hands and left hooks, but I landed a few decent shots myself in the second half. But I think that once I got busy and started to let my shots go and catch him, I was hurting him. I think I hurt him early on as well, actually.
The first 3 rounds, we were thinking this could be, you said yourself, you were going to get out early and you were going to get after him. And you did that. In the next 3 rounds, after 4, 5, 6, a lot of judges had him for all 3 rounds and that. And then it switched and turned. Round 8 was sensational. You tell me, did you ever feel hurt during the fight?
Oh, he won 4, 5 and 6 today.
Some judges say that. Don't look at me like that, Carl. I wasn't one of the judges.
Know what? Remembering back now, Ricky Hatton will tell you, he's sat here looking at me. When you get hit with a couple of shots, you do forget how it went. I'll have to watch it back. But yeah, I remember starting fast now, actually, and catching him. And then I took my foot off the gas, 4, 5 and 6, got behind my jab. And yeah, they were probably close rounds, and Robert McCracken did tell me that. And then I finished strong. So that's it. I mean, I was successful early on, and then I maybe sat behind my jab a little bit too much. And it just shows how the tide can turn and you let your opponent back in the fight. But I finished strong. From round 7 onwards, I pressed it home. I was trying to catch him, trying to get him out of there, but I was getting hit with the odd counter punch. But Mikkel Kessler's a very, very good fighter, let's not forget. He's not someone you can just push around and hit and do what you want with, even as good as I am, I can't just do what I want with Mikkel Kessler, and I got hit with some good shots. And I felt them, I've got to be honest, I did feel them. But I was a better man on the night, it's as simple as that.
And you were, and it was heard and felt all around the world, that fight tonight. Let me ask you, where next for you? Are you going to continue this revenge pattern, 1 down, 1 to go? Because everyone will also want to see a third version of that. What's your initial thoughts?
My initial thought is Andre Ward. So I've just had a little chat with him over there, and he's very, very confident and very sort of arrogant and cocky. I don't know what it is, or maybe just eludes confidence. He really does, because he just said, I'm ready for you, and I'll beat you again. He just told me that then. I thought, let me get over this one first, you know. But let's get him over to England. He needs to come over to Great Britain. You know, I've got 2 belts. I've got the IBF title. I've got the WBA title. He's not got a belt. So if he wants to fight, let's get him over to the United Kingdom. Let's put on a massive show for the fans, and let's put a big show on for the television companies and Sky Sports, and let's do the business, because I boxed him in the USA in a 115, 113 on 2 judges' scorecards. As wide as the people say the margin was, and as much as they're saying that he beat me easy, it was 115, 113 on 2 judges' scorecards. So let's get over to Britain and get the rematch on with Ward. But I think a third fight to best of 3 with Kessler, I think everyone would love to see that again. I nearly got him out of there in the end. I think if I'd have got him out of there and finished him, I think people would have said that's the end of him. But he stayed in there, countered back with some good shots. So that maybe, I don't know, you have to speak to Mikkel Kessler if you fancy the 3rd one, but that maybe sets up the trilogy.
It's a perfect end tonight. Thanks for talking to us. You're pumped, you're scattergunning quotes, you're covered in the glorious sweat, and a nation salutes you. Congratulations.
There's no better feeling than standing victorious in the arena, let me tell you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Carl Froch wins tonight, and he's absolutely elated, as you can hear from what he's saying. He's also, as I say, talking to everybody who's followed him every step of the way. A shake of the hand for Steve Bunce, a fist pump there for Ricky Hatton, and you look like a proud father there, Mike Costello, as you greet Carl Froch. Is that the best he's ever fought?
It's very close to it because of what he had to do to come through that in the end. You know, he produced a brilliant performance in a very different way against Arthur Abraham and against Lucien Boutte. But there tonight, he was asked so many questions, and that performance to come back like he did in the last round in particular was very, very special. And he has greatly enhanced his status tonight among the all-time best of British boxing.
I find it amazing to stand and talk with him, and you know, you assume that he's the master of his own destiny in that ring, but he had to be reminded about rounds 4, 5 and 6. Oh, and it's funny you should mention it. Yeah, now I remember. That's a really interesting insight into the boxer's mind, Ricky.
Yeah, you know, he started off well, Karl, and it was really, really hurting him. And every time Kessler come back into it, he just slammed the door shut. You know what I mean? He wanted that little bit more. That was, you know, just as, you know, Kessler started getting his confidence back, he went, right, I need to raise it here now, I need to find another gear. And that's what he did. And that's what the great champions do. You can't teach that. It's just something that you have deep down inside you, that you know the time when this fella's getting on top, he's getting a bit of confidence, let's bring him back down to earth. And that's what he did every time.
Yeah, deep gut instinct. And you talked there about was it his best performance, and let me tell you something, it wasn't his best boxing performance. That was one night in Helsinki when it was -40.
Yeah.
It wasn't his most vicious and focused performance. That was one night in front of a delighted crowd in Northampton. Was it his best all-round performance? Yes, it was his best all-round performance, and it was his best fight, but it wasn't necessarily his best performance.
See, so sometimes, you know, in fights like that, you know, you have your tactics, you have your game plan, and you have everything going, but then in fights like that, sometimes when it gets to that championship, them championship rounds, you got to lob the game plan out the window. You just got to grab the bull by the horns and do it, you know, and that's what he did down the home straight.
That's why the O2 Arena was packed tonight, and that's when you can transcend the sort of core boxing market, and you can take it into an arena like this, the biggest home arena that he's fought in so far. And here it is, whether you like it or not. We look at it eventually. This is one of the capital cities on the planet, and he fills one of the most prestigious arenas. And hey, let me tell you something, what he did to this arena tonight. I've maybe seen 4 or 5 boxing matches in here. This turned into a community centre, by the way. There was sweat dripping off the ceiling of the O2 Arena. I've seen rock and roll music in here, I've seen metal music in here, I've seen pop music. I've never seen sweat drip off the ceiling.
Now, you know what, it had that feel of a small hall. If we'd have been somewhere like York Hall with 1,500 in, it had that type of feeling. And to do that, to somehow do that in a magnificent modern arena, that takes something. But Mike, there was something different about Fraught tonight. Certainly in the second half of the fight, we've never seen that type. As I said, I thought it was scary. It was a grim determination. I've never seen that from him. Not like that.
And like we were saying before the fight, we should mark how important Carl Froch is to British boxing at the moment. We might have 4 world champions, but you're not going to get this from Nathan Cleverly, you're not going to get this from Ricky Burns, you're not going to get it from Jamie McDonnell. They might be involved in fantastic fights, but they are not going to be reported in the mainstream. They are not going to draw 18,000 fans like we're here tonight. That's why he's the important flag bearer.
What Carl Froch is now is what they call box office, you know, and at the end of the day, you know, HBO do pay, you know, more money to go over to the United States. But you know how you get, you know, fights over in the United Kingdom of that size? You put it in a stadium such as Wembley, and you're not telling me you can't fill an outdoor stadium with Carl Froch, with the box office status that he has now, against Andre Ward, and stick about 1,800,000 in.
I think you will.
It can certainly be done.
Yeah, Ricky's absolutely right. If you couldn't have the third fight in front of 70,000 at the Millennium or Old Trafford, then I'm a Dutchman, you'd get more...
hang on, Old Trafford, Steve.
Easy, sorry, I meant the Etihad.
Maybe City Manchester, something like that.
You'd get far more for Ward, because Ward is perceived as being arrogant, Ward is perceived as being cocky. cocky. As Carl said, maybe he's just confident. Forget what he maybe is. Let's go with perception, and that will help, and that will sell. We'll have a jolly out to Oakland. We'll have a fantastic 25 of us in the gym out in Oakland with Virgil Hunter, with that lisping lyrical speech, and we'll build it into a super fight. Not a big fight, a super fight for the ages.
And what sells those extra tickets, those extra 20, 30, maybe even 40,000 tickets, which would be the step up, let's face it, if he goes to the Etihad or he goes to Wembley Stadium. And it's actually not going to be the punches he threw in that fight. It's going to be his heart and his humility, and that's what I think the wider boxing nation really look for, like Ricky had it.
And when you look at Andre Ward, you look at Carl Froch, the characters gel. It was like me and Floyd Mayweather. It was like good cop, bad cop. You know, you got this arrogant guy, I'm do this and I'll do that. You got Carl down to earth, you know, just gets in there and likes to fight the best. You know, they'll make each other, these two. And if they're right, you know, you bang the drum in the right direction, there's no reason they can't come back to England in an open air stadium and be a sellout.
And as strong as he is, and as powerful as he is, and as lion-hearted as he is also vulnerable. He is easy to hit.
Well, let's see him come and box in front of 80,000, you know, screaming, you know, Brits. You know, let's see how the skills can pan out there. You know, it's one thing having the skills fighting in front of a small audience. You know, fighting in front of a large hostile atmosphere is a total different game.
It is a different game, and I just wonder how much pressure the Americans will put on him. They'll need something. You know, no disrespect, Andre Ward against Carl Froch in Vegas will just about do some business. It won't do Ricky business. I'm not saying that because he's here. And who wants to go to Oakland? No one. Madison Square Garden, possibly. But the Americans will want an event. They got Buffer pushing it like mad. They'll want an event, and they'll get an event here. That's a simple fact.
And if Andre Ward is like all us fighters really are, you know, as we go through our career, we like to tick boxes. We like to box at Madison Square Garden. We like to box at, you know, Atlantic City. We like to box, you know, at the MEN Arena. You know, and you want to tick the boxes as you go along. Please don't tell me he doesn't want to come over to the UK and box.
It was interesting to hear before we even started what Michael Buffer was saying. He described the audience here, and let's just go in because we got Andre Ward here at the moment. BBC, Andre?
Yeah, BBC, Andre.
Thank you very much. It does help
BBC,
to have Steve Bunce here as well. Andre, just heard from Carl Froch. He's obviously adrenaline buzzing right through him, and he wants you next.
Yeah, we'll see if he feels the same way Monday morning.
When those bruises heal, he will still want to avenge the other person who's beaten him, and he said it was close enough on 2 scorecards that you owe him that fight, and he wants you to come here. So what's your thoughts of that?
Well, first of all, I don't know how close the fight wasn't as close as that 115, 113. I think the British judge really got it right. I think Carl made a lot of noise before our fight about getting a fair shake, and maybe those 2 judges overcompensated. If it was 115, 113, I would say that, but that wasn't the case. But I'm open for it, because what he has to understand is I wasn't at my best. I was a one-handed fighter in that fight, and I would love to get him in the ring with both my weapons and really show him what I'm really all about.
We think we could put 80,000 in the Wembley Stadium. You must have loved sitting in the HBO box tonight. The atmosphere here was something special. Would you thrive in that? Would you thrive in shutting up 80,000 Britons?
Well, the great thing about the fans in Great Britain is when you beat their guy, they respect you. And I have respect here. I have a tremendous fan base here, and that would be shown and proven if I come here, decide to come here, what type of event it would be. It would be bigger than this. We'd exceed O2 Arena, even though this is a great arena. But simply put, Eddie Hearn has to pick up the phone. Carl Froch and Kistler, they seem to talk a lot on the phone. They must have lost my number because I never get any phone calls. But once the adrenaline dies down, they celebrate, pick up the phone, call my manager, James Prince, and let's discuss it as businessmen.
You talked about the respect they would have towards you here. And your respect is reciprocated, okay, but, you know, worst of enemies before a fight, you know, best of enemies after it. So you must respect that performance from Carl Froch tonight. And you're a fighter. You must want to fight that fighter.
This is the thing. I've always respected these guys. If you follow my track record, you know, I'm firm. I'm not a pushover. You know, I'll bite down before a fight, during a fight. I do what I got to do. But even after the fight in defeat, when I defeated Froch, I never disrespected him. And but it's the constant talk afterward that he keeps bringing up excuses, and that I can't respect. So because the excuses keep coming up, things that don't even really make sense to me, maybe we need to right that wrong. But the respect has always been there. I respect every fighter that has what it takes to get in the ring.
Yeah, at what point after the fight did you start hearing him saying things to you, Andre? At what point did you start hearing him saying things to you that you thought, hold on a minute, this is unfair, I beat him fair and square, he didn't say anything on the night, what's he doing bad-mouthing me?
Yeah, he didn't say anything on the night, and it really took him about a month to find his voice, and so I'm going to respond. I'm a fighter. I'm not just going to sit there and let you put out things about not selling tickets and you fought at home. If people really do their research, that was a road fight for me. That was a 5-hour flight for me, so he hasn't experienced Oracle Arena in Oakland, California. He's always welcome. The invitation is open. But it's things like that or excuses about this. I can't respect that. If I lose a fight, I guarantee you won't hear that from me.
I just got to tell you, Bunsey there, he did say earlier who'd want to go to Oakland. If you could tell us why we should all want to go to Oakland. So just saying, Bunsey, you did say it and you're not as big.
I spent a couple of months working in Oakland in a boys' club about 25 years ago, so I know how tough Oakland is, trust me. If you went there as a fighter, you want to be well and truly paid, and I mean that nicely.
I don't know about South Oakland, but in East Oakland, that's where my arena is, in Oracle Arena, and that's what we call home. So I don't know how he feels about Oakland, but Oakland comes out, Oakland shows up, and if Carl Froch really wants it, it's simple and plain. We don't have to do the back and forth with the media. Pick up the phone. Let's talk.
Andre, there's been a lot of talk in Britain that Carl Froch has improved since he lost to you. Did you see those improvements in the ring tonight?
Taking nothing away from him, he looks like the same fighter, which is not an insult. He's a good fighter. You don't know how much he's improved until he fights me. Simply put, we knew what type of fighter Bute was. He had been broken before, mentally and physically. So I knew the type of fighter that Froch was. He was going to break Bute, or Bute was going to catch him with one shot. The one shot didn't happen, so Froch won the fight like I thought he would.
You leave your number here, Andre. We'll make sure that call's made, and hopefully the next time we talk to you, you'll be side of ring and you'll be wearing shorts. And thanks for talking to the BBC.
Anytime.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And he shakes hands again with, I tell you what, having Ricky Hatton with you and having Steve Bunce with you, Mike Costello, it's like having the keys to the kingdom. They bring you to the table. Carl Froch after the biggest night of his life. Andre Ward thanks us. Unbelievable.
Listen, he did thank us, but he was just getting edgy there, Mike. You could sense it and I could sense it, because he's angry. He's angry that he doesn't get the respect. Virgil Hunter said when he beat Kessler, he didn't get the respect. When he beat Fraught, he didn't get the respect. And that's all Ward ever talks about, is how he's not somehow managed to not get the respect. And that's because of his fighting style. He's not a slugger, he's a boxer. And for some reason, people haven't taken to him. And as I said many hours ago, and as Carl Froch said, when you lose to Andre Ward, you don't feel like you've lost, you feel like you've been pickpocketed. Now that's an insult. That's an insult.
He dropped you in it there with the Oakland line, though, didn't he? You know, he put you right in it.
I didn't dare say it while Andre was here, but Frotz said to me during the week that he'd send a glass eye to sleep. So.
Well, listen, guys, we're going to finish with 4 words, and that's simply just a word each that you would use to sum up tonight, and I know that's a difficult task, but you've waxed lyrical beautifully tonight, and great coverage in 5 Live from you 3. I'm going to allow you just 1 word to sum up what was such a significant night for British boxing.
Unforgettable.
Yeah, outstanding.
Unbelievable.
And I'll add elated.